Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. A big weekend on the horizon with the Champions League looming in the background. Can Aston Villa avenge their loss to Arsenal earlier this season? Can Liverpool get back to winning ways? Lots to discuss. I'm Andrew Passaro, and Stefano Fusaro joins me today. You can follow him on Twitter at S_Fusaro on Twitter. You can catch him on the Galazzo Network, usually on Scoreline. Really fun show. Lots I could say about that. Thank you for making some time for me today. This is a very good friend of mine. Lots to discuss in the gambling space. Pretty good weekend on the horizon for us. There's some great games in Italy, great games in the Prem. I'll throw one quickly at you. If there's one, I know we're going to talk about a lot of games, but if there's one game you are looking forward to the most, which would you say?
Obviously, all eyes on Liverpool at all times, especially with dropping points the last couple games. You want them to, us as both being Liverpool fans, clearly are going to have our eye on that game. If not that one, I would say probably Villa and Arsenal. I think there's some interesting angles in that game as well. Arsenal winning in the North London derby, but not really being super convincing against the Tottenham side that, let's be honest, shouldn't have even been close in that game when they had three 18-year-olds in their back line. It's not exactly where you want to see all these young players playing in a big North London derby like that. So Arsenal, winning but not convincing. Aston Villa getting a win against Everton. I think that match can have some fireworks in it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, especially with Villa sweeping Arsenal last year and
Yeah.
that the old coach, there's a lot of storylines. We will get
Right.
to that. We both have plays from that game. Um, can't start a weekend without a Friday afternoon. Frankfurt are playing Dortmund. Dortmund have been atrocious since they returned from this winter break. Frankfurt have gotten back-to-back wins. Again, I'm going to say this could be their last game with Omar Marmoush. No idea if
Mm-hmm.
he's going to play or not. They're money line plus 115. They're a good home side. They are 8-3-1 at home in all comps. The over 3.5 is hitting 7 of those. That's kind of where I'm going in this game. I love goals in this game. The first half over 1.5 is plus 116. The first half over 2.5 is plus 390. Dortmund have given up 3 goals in the first half of both of their games so far since they've returned. And Frankfurt just hung 5 on the last team that they played in the Bundesliga. Frankfurt first half over half a goal is minus 145, which is an amazing parlay piece. Frankfurt first half over 1.5 is plus 380. And if you want to get crazy, Frankfurt first half over 2.5 goals is plus 1600, which I can't believe when you have an offense that good and Dortmund's defense has been as bad as it is. The over 3.5 isn't a great number. Over 4.5 is plus 280. Over 3.5 is hitting 7 of the 12 Frankfurt home games this season, and it's hit in Dortmund's road record this season, 4-2-7. The over 3.5 is hitting 6 of those games. Um, I I think this is the end of the road for Nuri Shaheen. I don't know if you agree with me on that, but I think Frankfurt could send him out in a big way on Friday afternoon.
I'm shocked he's still in the job
Yeah.
after their last loss to Holstein Kiel. That was it's shocking that Nuri's even still there. I love goals in this game. I just like you. I think probably the best bet there would be the over 1.5 in the first half. Um, Over 2.5 for for uh for Frankfurt there at 1,600. It's almost worth a little sprinkle just because that number is insane. Uh, my biggest fear with this game is obviously Marmouche.
Yeah.
He is so much of that team's offense and creates so many chances, whether it's for himself or whether it's for other players. So if he's not there, that could really skew things for this game and for the goals that we're looking for. But because Dortmund's been so bad, like I still love goals. I don't have a bet in this game right now. I will look at that first half over 1.5 just because I think that that's probably the best one we're going to get. But I do really want to see if Marmouche will be available for that game. That's going to be the biggest difference and really biggest difference maker in that match.
100%. Couldn't agree more. He is heavily linked to Manchester City. I don't think either of us have plays for Man City this weekend, but let's jump to the Premier League. Early start, good game. Newcastle are playing Bournemouth. Isak anytime goal scorer is minus 110, which is it's I would love for it to be a couple points better, but it's right there for me. He's on an incredible goal scoring streak. He didn't get a good number in the middle of the week against Wolves. I think it was at like minus 145, minus 150, but at minus 110, it is playable for me. And I also like Newcastle and both teams to score at plus 185. 9 out of their last 10 games have gone both teams to score, and 8 of two are I think that's at home. I don't know, actually,
Yes.
I miswrote down my notes here, but 8 of 12 Bournemouth games have been both teams to score. I do think Bournemouth can get on the score sheet in this game. If you don't, I do see goals in this either way. Newcastle and over 2.5 at plus 115 kind of gives you a little coverage if Newcastle just hang three on them. But I like both teams to score in that game. That should be. I'm not going to get up at 7:30 to this for the start of that game, but it is definitely worth throwing on the second half if you're up early on a Saturday. Um,
Yeah, I'll be up. I have kids, so I'll definitely be awake at that time to watch this game. I like goals. I like Newcastle over 2.5. I do believe that Bournemouth can score in this game. But playing on the road and playing at St. James Park is always a tough atmosphere. I think I'd rather cover myself with Newcastle and over 2.5 in that one. Like I said, I don't really have a play yet in this game, but if I'm going anywhere, it'll probably be Newcastle over 2.5. And look, with Isak, yeah, you'd want that to be plus money for a goal, but he's on such a tear right now that again, it's worth at one minus 110. It's even worth a half unit, even if it's just a half unit sprinkle on Isak. I think it's a good bet just because on the form he's at. We were talking just yesterday on Scoreline with our friend Adam Hunt. We were talking about Isak possibly being the best striker in the world currently, right now, on current form. A couple of weeks ago, we would have said it's Mo Salah. After these last couple of games, I think you have to at least give the shout to Isak. He's been on fire, scores another 2 goals yesterday, has an assist as well in their midweek match. So I do think it's worth a sprinkle, even if at minus 110.
yeah, it pains me to agree with you on most informed player in the world, but somehow the Premier League Mo Salah broke the record for most goals and assists in a month in December,
Yeah.
and somehow didn't win Premier League Player of the Month. Like
Yeah,
I
it doesn't make
still
any
like
sense.
explain that to me. Speaking of Mo Salah, Brentford Liverpool 10 a.m. Huge game. Couple quick Brentford stats that I found here. Embuemo minus 145 shot on target is a really good number. He's such a key
Yes.
piece for that team. And Wisa also minus 110 shot on target. I gave this out in the Newcastle game. I'm going to give it out here. Liverpool and both teams to score plus 135. Both
Yeah.
teams to score is in 12 of 14 home Brentford games this season. And Liverpool's last 10 games, both teams to score has hit 7 times. I think they've only won 3 of those games that have been both teams to score, which is not great. Um, and I also hate to give this out, but Brentford team total over 1.5 is plus 172. Um,
Wow.
that has hit in 9 of their home 14 games. They just did it
Yeah.
against Manchester City. I'm not convinced of this Liverpool defense just yet, but and we've seen goals in this matchup at Brentford. 4-1 Liverpool win last year, 3-1 Brentford the year before, and 3-3 the first time they ever played. What do you like?
It's funny. We don't discuss the bets that we're going to take. We just say which games we have bets. I have the same play. I got it at 140 though. Actually, shout out to New Jersey and having all the books. Liverpool money line, both teams to score plus 140. I think it's almost a shoe in. Liverpool's gonna come out to win this game. Brentford obviously a great team at home. Always score a ton of goals. Liverpool has been conceding goals in a lot of their games, like you mentioned. It's probably been their biggest issue as of late and why they've dropped points in some of these last games. But yeah, I think that number is too good to ignore. 140 for a Brentford team that will score at home and a Liverpool team that's hungry to come out for 3 points after 2 draws in their last few games. So it's where you want to be if you're Liverpool coming out to get a win, but Brentford you expect them to score. That team total over 1.5. That's a great number too. I don't want to take it as a
No,
Liverpool
I
fan,
don't.
but
I don't.
but
But
it's
it's an emotional hedge for both of
yes,
us, to be
yes,
honest. And
agreed.
like, look, like I said, I know Manchester City's defense has been. I mean, Liverpool's defense has been bad, but Manchester City's far worse. To
Yes,
get it in the last 10 minutes of the game, like they are just a. It's one of those things that I've looked at every single home Brentford game this season, and I've ridden it when it's playable, and it's absolutely it's live. Like it's if
right,
you're not a Liverpool fan, I'd be
all
slamming
over it.
that and very
Yep,
excited to play that number, but we are not
yeah,
that.
agreed.
As Liverpool fans, we will be looking at the 12:30 game, Arsenal, Aston Villa. I'm look, Aston Villa have kind of maybe gotten their shit together.
Yes,
Um, and there's some slightly disrespectful lines here. Villa draw no bet is plus 450, double chances plus 160, and plus one is plus 100. Villa have won 3 straight, gotten points in 4 straight. Is this the game we see Arsenal's injuries catch up to them? Because I took a risk playing Bournemouth double chance and draw no bet against Chelsea in the middle of the week. I was all over that, and obviously took something home with the double chance.
mm-hmm.
I kind of love Villa at least a plus one in this game. I don't think they'll lose by by 2 goals. The under's also a play, but what are you thinking here?
Draw no bet is one that I'm looking at. I'm going to play it a little safe though, just because you kind of don't know what Arsenal team you're going to get. Even with the injuries, sometimes they can come out and just get lucky with, like we said, they're set piece FC, right? They got a corner kick goal in their midweek game. Now coming in against the Villa side that look, they're playing better, and Arsenal should be scared going into this game. But I'm going to play it safe just because this number is too good. Both teams to score -105. I think that should probably be a higher number there. It shouldn't, that probably should be around -125, even -130, really for that both teams to score, because neither of these two defenses are world beaters. Both of them can clearly give up goals. At -105, I think it's a bet for both teams to score, Villa and Arsenal.
I love that. Speaking of guys who can score for Arsenal, Gabriel, this is the lowest shot on target I've ever seen for a defender. Gabriel is +180 for a shot on target in this game.
He just might get it on just a quick corner, right? A corner kick,
Right.
just being able to head one down at the keeper. That's it. Your cash.
Right. But it's one of those things that it's like, again, like as long as this is a good, like I'd love it at +200 or +225, but
Yeah.
at +180, it's still a good enough number for the rate of which he's getting them. I don't have anything in the Premier League for Sunday, but you do. Everton play Tottenham, a very classic English matchup, um, early on Sunday morning. What are you thinking?
So Everton has been a team that obviously they just get the new manager. Didn't really get that new manager bump in their midweek match. They lose to Villa 1-0 at Goodison Park. They're back at home against the Tottenham team that, I mean, they, especially if they can't get their injuries right, it's definitely the game that they shouldn't be winning. So I'm going to take a shot here at Everton draw no bet, or Everton PK, however you want to look at it, at +110. With that new manager bump at home at Goodison Park, you're taking low risk because if it's a draw, obviously you're getting your money back. Everton PK +110, new manager bump at Goodison Park against a Tottenham team that had 3 18-year-olds in their starting lineup against Arsenal in the North London derby. Yeah, I'm gonna take that shot with Everton with that new manager bump.
You're taking my exact strategy for the Atalanta Napoli game of this game is either going to be won by this team or it's going to be a draw. So I'm 100%
Wait,
agree with you. It's
don't tell me you're taking also Napoli PK because that's my other play.
yeah, I am, but I have more things from that game.
Okay,
We'll
okay.
get there in just a second. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but yeah, no, I Tottenham, man, you never like. I can't figure them out. They're such a Jekyll and Hyde team, and Everton are another one. Like this game is either going to be an Everton win or it's going to be like 0-0. It's like
Right.
one or the other. Yeah. All right.
I don't see.
We'll
I
get
don't see a way. I don't see a way that Tottenham can go into Goodison Park with that same lineup that they had and win a game. They can go and get a draw, and then we push and we're fine. At that number, like I said, at home against the Tottenham side, look, they played hard in that second half against Arsenal. They didn't bend. They were going for it. Only lose by a goal, so you give them credit there. But now going on the road to Goodison, like I said, the new manager bump and everything that's kind of going around with that club, I think the PK is worth a shot at plus money.
let us go. Atalanta. They're taking on Napoli. A huge game for the
Yep.
title race in Italy. Um, I do like both teams to score here at -115. I, I
Yeah.
I think Atalanta will do enough. The draw is +210, which I find very enticing. I kind of want to play both draw no bet and the draw. Draw no bet for Napoli is +130.
Yeah.
Um, could I talk you into Napoli team total over 1.5 at +250? It's hitting 4 of their last 5.
Yeah, no, I mean you might be able to talk me into it. I don't want to take it because I'm trying to lower the volume here a little bit,
Yeah,
but
no, me too. Me
it
too.
is good. Like I looked at both teams to score in that one as well. With Serie A games though, they're so unpredictable. Everything in my being says, yeah, both teams to score, but you can even do under 2.5 just because a 1-1. This seems like a 1-1 game because I feel like every top match between some of these top teams in Serie A is 1-1. It's when it finishes almost half the time. But then you can get that 2-1 random winner, and then you're going to lose. So I think Napoli the the lack of fixture congestion, right? Every other team in Italy, every team, these top teams, all are playing in Europe. Napoli's not. They have. I mentioned this on Scoreline as well. They have the best manager to be able to focus on just one competition in Serie A in Antonio Conte because he's going to just absolutely drill this into this player's heads that this is the competition. We have to go out and win it. I think Napoli draw no bet 130 is an insane number. Even against Atalanta, they are right now in great form. This is the team that you want to take them at that number. At plus 130, Napoli draw no bet. Give me that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Atalanta, 8 wins at home, 3 draws, 2 losses. Can you name the 2 losses? One's in the Champions League, one is in the league.
Wait, I just looked this up. Now I'm gonna forget. What's that? What's the? I can't remember who they just lost to in Champions League last or
It was
in
Real
November.
Madrid. It was
Real Madrid.
Real
That's right.
Madrid,
That's right. That's right.
and the home loss is weirdly to Como,
That's right. That's right. I do remember
which
that. That
is
was their that
which is
odd awful.
very very weird. We have a couple parlays. I have one. I have two. You have one. I will hit my patented both teams to score one. It's plus 277 for the weekend. Leicester Fulham. We didn't talk about this game. I do love Fulham in that game. But 19 of the 24 Fulham games, both teams to score, including 5 straight. 17 of the 24 for Leicester. They got to get something going soon. They are
Yeah.
falling like a stone right now. But Fulham's defense stinks. West Ham are taking on Palace London Derby. 15 of 23 West Ham games and 15 of 26 Palace games. Both teams to score. And then in Germany, Holstein Kiel taking on Hoffenheim, 15 to 26 Hoffenheim matches and 13 of Holstein Kiel's 19 games, 4 straight for them. That's plus 240. Oh, I'm sorry, plus 277. If you
That's
add the Liverpool Brentford game, that gets you to plus 444. Um,
that's not a bad number to go and sprinkle on that for sure. That's those are all games where you can expect goals.
I'm curious. I have a 4 leg plus 269. These teams should win this game parlay. I'm
Okay.
curious how many of the same sides you have, so I will let you go first.
I only have three in mind, and like I said, I usually like to play it a little safe, especially with the money line parlay. So I'm going Bayern, Newcastle, PSV,
Okay.
and that adds up to 175. And I'm okay with that number. I'm going in a little bigger on that one, because of the odds. Obviously, I'd like it to be over 200, but 175, a little bit of a bigger bet on that, and that's a good money line parlay for me.
Okay, so we over 3, which is great. I got
Okay, great.
Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid to continue their winning streak. They're playing at
15 in
Leganés.
a row.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible.
Nottingham Forest. They're playing Southampton. Leverkusen are playing Gladbach. Both of those games are at home, and then Marseille are playing Strasbourg. That's plus
Ooh,
269. Four
I like that.
legs. All four of those teams should win, and I usually like to bet those teams, but it's just like this weekend, the odds are cooked. So, there we go. All right, that is our show. I will have more picks on the socials. I didn't give out picks for Juve Milan, another game that screams draw.
Yeah, another
Um,
game that I mean, I think we'll have to just sprinkle on that draw just because
yeah.
of their both of their recent history.
The draw is plus 210. Like, at what business should that draw be plus 210? Another game that I didn't talk about here, but I have picks for that I'll give out online. Leicester are taking on Fulham. So check those out at Angel Passaro. Follow Stefano at S_Fusaro. Check out Scoreline on the Galazzo Network. It's free. You can watch it on CBSSports.com. We will be back. I'll have picks online for the Champions League. Busy week. Last week, where we have Champions League, Europa League over 3 days, because I just found this out. The last week of Champions League, every game is at 3 o'clock. We have like 18 games at the same time. I think my brain is going to explode. Um, and then, yeah, so we'll have picks. I'll have another podcast out next weekend. Uh, Ahead of obviously everyone's favorite game, Liverpool Ipswich. That's the only game I know is happening next week. Oh, I think it's Manchester City Chelsea, but
Yeah.
the my mind is on Liverpool Ipswich. So thank you guys for listening. Let's win some money. Have a great weekend.